I went in October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I went for, and it was 2 years since I had a mammography, so I was going every 2 years with a very cavalier attitude, and don't have anybody in my family who's ever had it. Nobody in my circle, my friends, nobody has had it. Nobody's had cancer. I've actually never even been in the hospital, so I've never been sick. Anyway, so I go for my regular mammography. They saw something, and they're like, "Come back." All right, well, that's happened, before, so no big deal. So I went back, and when I went back for the second mammography, they did an ultrasound at the same time. Now, I have this cavalier attitude. I still don't know what it is. And then they said, "Well, you have to come back and see the surgeon." So I went back and I saw the surgeon. And it was funny because the night before I was actually at a business dinner meeting, and it was 9 o'clock, and I had called a cousin of mine who actually went through the whole thing with me. And, I was telling her, and she's like, "You're not going by yourself." I'm like, "It's fine. What, like, it's nothing, right?" You'll hear these stories. I don't have children. So they say, "Oh, you have dense breasts," or that. Anyway, so she came with me. She insisted on coming with me. And thank God she did, because the surgeon, when she sat me down and she said, "Yeah, breast cancer." And and then she started talking, and you don't hear anything else past that. You just block everything out. So it was a good thing that she was with me, and she was kind of my rock as I was going through it all. And so once we did that, the surgeon shuffled me right down. It was in St. Barnabas in Livingston, New Jersey, and she shuffled me right downstairs, and I had an MRI right then and there. I, again, never had an MRI. And it was funny, as I was laying in that MRI machine, and the noise, all I could hear, I freaked out anyway, but all I could hear as I was laying there, and I said, the machine was just saying, "Cancer, cancer, cancer," because it was that when you have that MRI, it's that noise that you hear. And that's all that I could hear. And I was freaked out, and the guy is behind the window, and he's saying, "Don't move." I'm like, "Seriously? Don't move? Seriously?" So anyway, I got through that, came out of that MRI room, and I collapsed on the floor. Thank God my cousin was there. They wouldn't let her come in with me, but she was right outside the room. And that was kind of the beginning of it. I was very lucky, actually, because my boss, her sister works for Columbia in the city. And when I was telling my boss, she said to me, "You need a second opinion. You need to go to Columbia. You need to go to Columbia. If you're going to have to get cut," this was her expression, it's kind of raw. "If you're going to get cut, you need to get cut by the best." Okay, so she actually made an introduction for me to a oncologist, Dr. Dawn Hirschman in Columbia. And then from there, then Dr. Hirschman introduced me to Dr. Feldman, who is the chief of breast surgery at Columbia. So I was very lucky, thankful, blessed, everything, to have these two people working for me. And Dr. Feldman, he's very innovative. He's very, very innovative. And we went one day, actually it was New Year's Eve, New Year's Eve day, and we were at Columbia, and on the table in the waiting room was a brochure about, breast cancer and things. And I was looking at it and sitting there with my cousin. I think I was with my girlfriend, my sister-in-law, whoever came with me that day. And I'm like, "Oh, look at this. It's IORT. You can have your radiation at the time of surgery." Put it in my mind, but, never thought about it. And then when I started talking to Dr. Feldman, we started talking about IORT and doing the innovative things that he's done. He said, "I think you may be a candidate for it based on location, size, what I had, all the stars were aligned." And that was really what put me over the edge to say I'm going to have my surgery. That plus, you can't beat the top breast surgeon at Columbia. After I had the consultation with him, I went to see a radiation oncologist, also at Columbia, and we talked through, very innovative. So it's only Columbia at the time, now this was February of 2015, I had my surgery. So at the time, Columbia was the only hospital here in the US that was doing IORT. And they had only done, I want to say, less than 100 patients at that point. It was only about a year or so that they were doing it. And I asked, some questions about it. He goes, "Well, the only thing that we don't know about it is, what the long-term results are, because we haven't been doing it very long." But he said to me that they were doing it. It started, I guess, he said, in the UK. So they've been doing it in the UK. They have had some long-term testing in the UK. It just hasn't been here in the US. So how could you pass that up? You know, it's a chance to get your radiation at the time of surgery. It only added an additional 20 minutes to the entire procedure, the entire surgical procedure. So initially the consultation, he does the exam, does everything. And then he explained to me, he showed me a picture of the machine. So the machine, if I can remember correctly, it looks like an arm. So it's attached to something. It looks like an arm that comes out and comes down. It's got like a little point on the end of it. So once the surgeon has the cavity open, cleared, I guess he clears all the margins at that point, they come with this machine and they put the little thing right where the cavity is, where the open cavity is. And he said to me, they give you the radiation. So I wanted to know how much. He said, it's stronger than if you would had to go for treatments, because you've only got one treatment. So it's a little bit stronger radiation than one treatment. He said, but it's not that strong that you're going to have any kind of side effects from it. And that's really what I knew about the actual machine and about the actual procedure itself. The surgery, it was just a normal, I who knew I was out? I've never been in an operating room before. But I actually I had nothing. There was no burn marks. There was nothing. And I went back to work. I had the surgery on a Tuesday. I was back at work on a Monday. I actually went to a support group at St. Barnabas about 3 or 4 months after I had my procedure done. And the women there, they were much more worse than I was. I almost felt guilty to even be there, knowing how good I've come through it. But when I told them about this IORT and this treatment, and that I was back to work in a week, even the nurses who ran the procedure, they said, we've heard about it. We've actually heard Dr. Feldman talk, but we've never had anybody who's actually gone through it. So I want to, and that's why I'm here. I want to be able to give back, right? I hope that somebody hears about it and talks to their surgeon, whether they're here on the East Coast or they're in Michigan or maybe they're in Canada. I don't know. That if they bring it up and they talk about it, and this does become something bigger, where more hospitals use it, that more people will go through this and they don't have to go through the radiation, and takes them one step away from the pain and the suffering that they have to go through. So I want to be able to give back, and that's why I'm here.